Welcome to the Mojo Market Report. Here's your hosts, Dave Sturchio and Chris Gueci.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Mojo Market Report right here on a Thursday, Football Thursday. We're back. Week number 13 is here. It is Dave Sturchio. It is Chris Gueci. And, of course, we're coming to you live from Chop Studios in beautiful downtown Matawan, New Jersey. I hope everybody's doing well out there. I hope everybody is recovering from the news that it's kind of breaking news yesterday, and it's upsetting. It's defeating. Apparently, 50% of the team in Denver did not go to Russell Wilson's birthday party that was thrown by Sierra.
I'm surprised there was that many people there. Honestly,
I want to know the guest list. You know, people are like 50% of the team was there. I was like, oh, okay. How many were invited? You would assume that everybody was invited.
And truly, how
except
many
for the guy that yelled at him last
people
week.
were there because, you know, there was a chance that if you're having a birthday party and Sierra's the one throwing it, there's going to be some other celebrities there. So it's probably like, well, I'm going to go, but not for Russ.
Yeah, like I definitely want to meet Pharrell.
I want to meet Sierra's friends for sure.
Right. So I mean, look, it's upsetting, but it is what it is. But anyway, there is football to be talked about today. We got a loaded show because yesterday, from the graces of the power that be, back end office sent us another spreadsheet yesterday where it kind of gave us an updated look as to how people are doing from week one all the way to now. And there's very interesting nuggets in there that we'll dive into today. But first, we got to dive into Thursday night football, ladies and gentlemen. We have football to be played. It is the Patriots. It is the Bills. It is a blockbuster matchup. Like I said, when you look at this game on paper, when the schedule came out, you circled this one on a Thursday night. Like, this one's got potential. Why? It's December. Both teams are relevant. The Bills, is it fair to say that they're winning games? They're in first place right now. But is it fair to say they're not the Bills at this moment? Is there like a little fraction of you that thinks that like this team is just not performing like that well-oiled machine that we've seen before?
I do think that there's a part of that. The Bills haven't been playing to the expectations that we've set for them. But at the same time, they're a team that when I look at them, I'm saying, okay, well, they're going to be there at the end. I don't think there's anything to worry about if you're a Buffalo fan. They have some injuries on the defensive side with Von Miller dealing with an injury. But really, at the end of the day, they went through this last year, and then if it wasn't for a miraculous comeback by the Chiefs, the Bills would have probably represented the AFC in the Super Bowl.
Very true. Are you still feeling that way right now? Can the Bills make that run,
100%.
That resurgence?
If you're looking at that, it's the Chiefs and the Bills still. At the end of when it's all said and done, if you look at it in the AFC.
The Miami Dolphins have entered the chat.
I agree.
Just
but
keep your eyes out.
Still, even Tua in the Mojo market hasn't gotten the respect that he deserves
This is very true.
I think Tua clearly right now is like 1 or 2 in the MVP race. When you look at it and you break everything down, I don't know how you could deny the guy. I'm definitely sprinkling some money on Tua now.
Here's the thing. And again, full disclosure, I do tend to brag about my investments when they're doing well. If they're not doing well, I kind of just don't want to talk about them. But right now, my portfolio is consistent of Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, and Tua. That's it. And I'm making money every day I log on to that app, which, by the way, can't do any of this if you don't download the app. Every time I download or open up the app, I'm up more money. I'm up more money. I mean, this is day-to-day stuff. It's like they haven't played since Sunday. Today, I have more money in my account than I did yesterday. Go invest in these guys, especially Tua. I went all in on Tua. I think that it's just incredible to see how much this guy's doing. But back to the game.
I think it's incredible how we took the Chiefs, the Patriots and the Bills game and started talking about Tua again.
It's that exciting.
Can't help it.
But back to this game. Tonight, there's specific things I want to talk about tonight. There is a not expected to play out there. It hasn't been ruled out yet, but there's a Damian Harris that might not play in this game. Rhamondre Stevenson has been our guy all year. And I read this morning on Mojo.com that he's the 9th most all-purpose running back, yards-wise. 9th.
I know what you meant.
Yeah, I know. I just got
It's early. We get it. It's been a tough night.
Damian Harris could be ruled out. He's ranked right now on Mojo, ranked number 34 on the Mojo market. Is it well past the time he should have gotten in on Ram Stevenson, or is it like one of those times like, hey man, right now? I know it's the Bills, and the Bills defense has been stout at times, but again, secondary has always been banged up. Their defensive pass rush is good, but it's just like you're looking at this Patriots team of guys to invest in, not named I mean, I hope you guys didn't invest anybody in Mac Jones.
Rhamondre Stevenson's receiving totals over the last couple of weeks.
That's been a big thing.
It's insane, actually.
Yeah, that's what I mean. All-purpose yards. The guy is incredible. And again, when you're looking at the Patriots, one of the biggest fallers of their season, as far as the Mojo market is concerned, is Mac Jones.
All right, so Rhamondre Stevenson, since week 7, 8 targets, 7 targets, 7 targets, 6 targets, 10 targets, and reception totals since week 7.
So we're talking about the last 5 weeks of football.
7, 3, 6, 9. Really, they throw him the ball. There's very rarely an incompletion, and he's getting 20, 25 touches a game in that offense. I know that he's the entire offense, really.
He really is.
If you look at
he's saving Mac Jones' butt
is
right
probably
now.
having like 15 completions a game, and 7 or 8 of them are going to
Rhamondre
Stevenson. They hand the ball off every other play. I remember watching a game last year between the Bills and the Patriots, and Sean McDermott was so mad after the game. So there's a little bit of a rivalry. They asked McDermott after the game. He's like, "Oh, give me a break. It wasn't rocket science. He ran the ball 100 times." When they were talking about the game where it was just
that game where Mac Jones is handing the ball. Oh my God, remember that? I called it one of the greatest games ever played. But then, like, if you're a stat guy, you're like, please, God, throw the ball.
I truly believe that Belichick might do the exact same thing. He's be like, oh, no, you thought that was because it was snowing. No. I just have no faith in my quarterback. I just have no faith in my quarterback. I don't know if you realize.
And to be honest, to be fair, I still don't think, as far as the Mojo market is concerned, I still don't think there's much faith in a Mac Jones. We'll talk about him in a little bit. Any rubs with the Buffalo running game? Because again, I'm interested to see that. I've seen this Patriots defense soundly is what's keeping them afloat right now. Like the defense is playing very well. You always know where Judon is on the field, partially because of his red sleeves. But like you always know that the defense comes to play and shows up every week. Buffalo is I still think, they trade away Zach Moss. They bring in Colts, Nyheim Hines, right? They bring in Hines. They got Singletary. They got James Cook. There's a plethora of running backs over there in Buffalo. Is there any interest in any of them at this point?
Devin Singletary, if any, but really even I'm a little cold on. But last year at this time is when Devin Singletary started to pick things up. Yeah. It is Buffalo after all, and it's cold weather, so they're going to have to run the ball a little bit more down the stretch. But really, as that offense goes running the football, it's Josh Allen is the guy that makes that tick. So if Josh Allen is running the football, then maybe it opens things up. But I don't really like any of their backs because Josh Allen is getting 700-800 yards a year running the football. It doesn't make any sense. And then when you get down low, Josh Allen's going to vulture all those touchdowns. So no, I'm not really too keen on it. The only Buffalo Bill receiver or player that I'm really into besides Josh Allen is Stephon Diggs. And
what about the emergence of a little McKenzie action? The guy seems to find the end zone every week.
Okay, fair point. I think that if there was a third guy, it would be McKenzie, based on the fact that I know that we've all been a little bit bullish on Gabe Davis.
Yeah, I was very upset about Gabe Davis this year.
And I watched something yesterday, and I excuse me for not remembering where. Nothing major, but I watched the thing, and it was a guy with a pretty hot take, and it said Gabe Davis isn't even a top 50 receiver in the NFL. And then everybody was like, dude, you're out of your mind, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, I'll name 50 right now.
And he roll off?
And he named 50, and then he started naming guys like Ridley, and people were like, wow. Like, there's a bunch of guys in that 50 that you can make the case, like Tyler Boyd.
Well, think about it. Well, that's not that. Listen, top 50 isn't that big of a deal, considering the fact that if you think about it, there's 64 starters, 1 and 2, right?
Fair.
64. So if you're in the top 50, that means you're a starting receiver in the NFL.
Understood, but when we're looking at the Bills' offense and we're looking at their receivers,
you would think that
you don't cross over Gabe Davis and say, he's just sitting outside the top 50.
That's true.
He wasn't drafted that way.
No.
His Mojo market doesn't reflect that, all of it. So maybe you want to go short on Gabe Davis?
You want to short Gabe Davis tonight?
Just don't short him in the first round, whatever their first round playoff game is.
Yeah, he might have 4 touchdowns.
4,000 yards.
Right. So that's Thursday Night Football. Get involved tonight. A lot of plays to be had.
Rhamondre Stevenson, Stephon
That's
Diggs.
the play. But I read this there's always hypotheticals out there, and I read this on Mojo.com. A $1,000 long bet tonight on Josh Allen could net you $3K in one night because of the 3-time multiplier. So you just want to, and that's because he's right there again. Josh Allen is that dude.
1,000.
Yeah, 3 times.
In a 3-time multiplier. So if he goes up,
that's what I read.
Yeah. I got to do the math.
Don't do math. It's too early. So that's Thursday Night Football, and good. It should be a good one. All right. So we got sent this spreadsheet. We get spreadsheets sent to us every so often, just to kind of update us and update the masses on on guys that have moved significantly, specifically since week 1. We went through this list, and it's some of it's like, oh, okay, we get it, but some of it's like, whoa, what? So now it's time to kind of break down the AFC. We'll do the NFC next week after the Bucs and the Saints play their game. We'll break down the NFC again. This is data that was sent to us yesterday, so if things move a little bit over the course of week 13, sue us, but or don't sue us. But what I'm saying is the AFC, right, going into week 13, specifically tonight, because you got 2 AFC opponents. I start with the Bills. Their top mover, clearly as day, 19.7%. That's your boy Josh Allen. That's a cookie cutter thing. Their biggest faller is James Cook at down 24.9% since week 1. Do you find that he's going to have a role at all? Like, is he just kind of finding his way? We just talked about Buffalo's running backs, the whole room, and I'm thinking to myself, like, is anybody going to come out of this like a star? Does James Cook have star ability right now?
I don't know if he has star ability. That might be a little bit of a reach, but he definitely has playmaking ability. And in that offense, as he gets going, if there was an injury to Singletary, I think he would be the guy that you would see step into the next role. I don't know that it would be Hines. Hines has proven over the course of his career that he is serviceable at what he does,
just
which
supplemental
catch passes and be block on third down. But he hasn't been able to carry the ball on first and second down in between the tackles, and I don't expect him to do that going forward. James Cook ousted Zach Moss. They like him more. They brought in Nyheim Hines. I thought it was a little curious of a move because the way I understood James Cook coming out of college was that he was a very similar type to a Nyheim Hines, where he was the third down guy, catching passes.
Well, maybe that's what they're kind of grooming him. Like, Hines ain't your long-term play, you would say.
So it's maybe they just didn't have confidence in James Cook down the stretch. I don't know if there's a fumbling issue. If there's anything with a young player that you may want to hedge your bet a little bit on down the stretch in cold weather games postseason would be a fumbling issue. So maybe that's why Nyheim Hines is there. But that's just speculation. I have no idea. Honestly, I do like James Cook. I thought he was I was kind of invested in him in dynasty leagues, late round flyers. Yeah. So I do like the player. Situationally, though, there's a lot of mouths to feed in Buffalo, and there needs to be a couple things have to go wrong for a couple other guys for James Cook to inherit any.
Agreed. Moving on to the New York Jets. Their top mover is obviously their savior over the last couple of weeks, or at least in the news. He's up 111% since week 1. That's Mike White, 111%. We all know why, right? He gets the opportunity to play. Zach Wilson. I did read a lot of stuff and hear a lot of stuff about the fact that Zach Wilson has not lost the locker room here. He has not. He got up in front of the entire team, apologized, did his thing. They all respect him more, apparently, according to their biggest faller. How about that? CJ Azuma, tight end that was brought in to be a security blanket for a young quarterback. He's down 44%, 44.9, almost 45%. CJ Azuma, now with the emergence of Conklin, is Azuma going to be looking for another place to play next year? Or is he just going to be tight end 2 in New York?
I don't know if he just signed a deal in the offseason, a 3-year deal.
Yeah,
correct?
so I guess he's stuck there.
I doubt that they really signing bonus heavy that deal, so he's probably stuck. I don't know that there's really an out, but because it wasn't a massive deal, there might be an out just because of that. But I don't know. If Conklin goes down, it's probably nice to have a guy that's got Super Bowl experience sitting back there. So I would probably hang on to Azuma. But it's a little of a travesty when we see that the top mover for the Jets is Mike White. Outside of Zach Wilson, this offense has been nothing short of a pleasant surprise. There's a bunch of guys.
Garrett Wilson.
Outside of, really, I should say Elijah Moore as well. But we had the Breece Hall surgeons. We saw what they were capable of doing.
We also got some verbiage from James Robinson. Very pissed off right now that he's not getting the ball. He goes, I wasn't traded here not to play.
You were traded there.
You were traded, first of all.
You were traded.
You didn't sign here. You weren't recruited. You were traded because one guy got hurt. And
we've seen Michael Carter has moved up this season.
And what's his name? Bam Knight coming in like this.
I don't know.
Bam, I think they're calling him Bam Knight.
Much better.
So it's a lot easier. But anyway, there's an emerging star.
But it's Garrett Wilson's my favorite Jet right now.
He's playing like a wide receiver 1, so that's what they drafted him to do.
And look at the quarterback that's throwing the ball. He's still managing to get it done. So, yeah. Garrett Wilson is the guy.
Heading on over to Miami, the Miami Dolphins top mover is, again, it's one of those things where it's like, this is just stats and percentages and reasons why. Skylar Thompson is their biggest mover of the year. Considering all the stuff that Miami's done, he's their biggest mover. Why? Because when Tua went down, he was the dude. And what you've seen on the Mojo Market, if you're investing in the backup, opportunity sees the day, and all of a sudden Thompson went nuts. But you do have your Tuas of the world, your Tyreek Hills. Those guys have moved significantly, especially Tua. Obviously, I alluded to him pretty much carrying my portfolio right now. The biggest faller, another tight end, Mike Gesicki, who's on a franchise tag. So as you're looking at Gesicki for next year, is it time to buy in at the end of this season because of the potential and a new deal from somewhere? I mean, he's got to go somewhere, right? He's not going to be out of the league.
But I don't think Gesicki. There's a lot of young, talented tight ends coming into the league right now.
That's true. I don't know.
I did mention that we should short Gesicki a long time ago.
You did say this.
That Mike McDaniel's offense really doesn't have room for a tight end to succeed. There's a lot of balls to go around, not enough balls to go around with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Now they have the complementary backs back there. Mike Gesicki, he's a touchdown dependent guy. The fact that he's in his contract year,
terrible gritty,
and the worst in the NFL. But for that reason, it's the best.
Yes, you're right.
Willingness and ability are two different things. The willingness goes a long way here in Mike Gesicki range.
All right.
I think that whoever the potential starter in Miami next year is who we should be identifying here. If there's a guy in-house on that roster that could step up and be a guy that really is also touchdown dependent but has a little bit less expectations.
I got a bold prediction.
Go ahead.
Next year, the Miami Dolphins starting tight end is Dalton Schultz.
I got to look at their finances. They just put a ton of money
I got this feeling Miami's willing to spend. He is he's emerging as a run blocker.
They just signed Chubb. They just spent a ton of money.
I understand that.
I don't know. I got to look at their finances.
Unfortunately, I think Schultz is on the outs.
Sense. The reason why I don't agree, though, is I think what they would be looking for. I'm not saying that Schultz isn't a good blocker.
He's not. He's not the best
I don't
blocker.
know enough about him to say whether he's a good blocker.
He's blocked plenty of people on Twitter.
Or not. Well,
because of that. People talk about blocking.
But I think if we're looking at what the Dolphins are trying to do, it's probably going to be, like I said, a safety valve in the seam for a quarterback, nothing in between the 20s, and then you get down low, and you might look to your tight end in the red zone. But other than that, I don't think that there's a reason for the Dolphins to put money into a tight end.
Right.
Get a guy that's cheap,
we'll see,
that could block well, and it's going to fit your offense better.
All right.
It's disrespectful that Skylar Thompson is the number one mover on the Dolphins. Again, they have Jalen Waddle. They have Tyreek Hill. They have Tua.
We said it last week. Go long on all the Dolphins.
Make no mistake about it. I don't want to go through this list, and I'm going to preface the rest of this by saying this. A lot of these guys are guys that you may never heard of, and the reason why they move so much is because they had no expectations. But conversely, Josh Allen is the top mover for the Bills. We have
Nick Chubb.
Yeah,
guys that you know.
We have guys.
Trevor Lawrence. Yeah.
Joe Burrow, the top mover for the Bengals. So there is room for improvement. And like I said, with the Dolphins, there's 3 of their stars. They're all up. So Tua, Tyreek Hill, even their backs, up. So, yeah, you don't have to just invest in the young guys. And this is something that I had to learn the hard way a little bit. You know, you could definitely make money on some vets or the guys that are higher priced and more established. Josh Allen up 20%.
Speaking of making money due to opportunity, the Patriots real quick, top mover, Bailey Zappi, 82%. Why? Because Mac Jones stinks, and Mac Jones is down 35%. The Mojo Market's not going to dictate who your starting quarterback is going forward, but I mean, what if there's ever a Spider-Man meme right now, Bailey Zappi, Mac Jones is like, hey, you're him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I don't know. I can't talk too much about this.
I would say Mac Jones is a better prospect outside of the Patriots. I don't know Bailey Zappi fits in anywhere else in the league. I think a bunch of other teams would like to try out Mac Jones.
We shall see. All right, moving on. AFC North, somebody that you called very, very early in this show, right? We're on episode like 52 at this point, right? On episode like 2 or 3, we were talking about Isaiah Likely being one of the likely candidates to do good things over there in Baltimore behind Andrews. You know what I mean? So it's curious because Mark Andrews is the guy, he's going to be the top 3 tight end in football going forward. But, like, if you start a 2 tight end set, a la, like, Gronk Hernandez, not saying I'm going to give it Hernandez any burn, but you know what I mean? Like, that kind of set where 2 guys are that good.
Yeah, and if
he's up 36%.
If there's one coach and one system in the NFL, it would be the Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh, Baltimore Ravens, where they're just going to say, hey, we're going to do this old college style offense. We're going to bring 2 tight ends out and somehow still manage to spread it out because you have to respect Lamar and what he's able to do and get guys into space. But the 2 tight end thing, I think that's something we're going to have to grow used to in Baltimore because that's probably their most 2 talented pass catchers now that we see Bateman as their top mover on the way down.
Yeah, I mean, it is James Prochet at 22%, but more relevant, you would think Rashad Bateman is somebody that we talked about in the beginning of the year, somebody that everybody was coveting in fantasy drafts. He's down 20%. He's out for the year. It's just been a tough sledding for Bateman this year.
Bateman, and then even Andrews dealing with a couple of injuries. I think it provided opportunities for an Isaiah Likely to show the Ravens and the rest of the world what he's able to do. And now getting those guys both on the field together, like I said, that's probably going to be their 2 most talented pass catchers. And it might slow things down. And they might not be able to stretch the field with their receivers. I think Bateman's health is a large factor in terms of what's going to happen with this Ravens offense.
He's in and out of the lineup before he got ruled out.
It would make Duvernay better. It would make Lamar better. And I don't know that it would make Mark Andrews better. I think his numbers are going to be good regardless. But if Bateman doesn't play, I think Likely sees more targets. So that's going to be a thing to pay attention to as next season unfolds. Is Bateman's injury? It's just this season. It's nothing bleeding into next year.
Speaking of injuries, big opportunity here for a Jaylen Warren who's been cleared to play for Week 13. Okay, he's coming back off the hamstring injury. He was out last week. He's up 63%. Najee Harris is somebody that we've talked about at length, being one of the top backs in the league. But going in, you said, you know what? Why don't we pump the brakes? And you should have pumped the brakes because now he's down 33%. We were out on him very early. Heading on over to the Browns, same thing. Nick Chubb, their best player on the field. He's up 16%. Josh Dobbs down 31%. But the most guy of note, I remember jumping into a Twitter Spaces early with, I forget who it was, but it was with Mojo. And they had a guy, a representative, talking about Cleveland, talking about David Bell. Now, they were very high on David Bell. And now I'm looking, I'm like, well, I'm not saying, hey, I'm knocking you because you're wrong. I'm just that opportunity hasn't seized itself, and David Bell's down 20%. He's a receiver, undrafted. I'm not sure if he's undrafted, but he just hasn't really emerged. And then, of course, the obvious with the Bengals is Joe Burrow. He's up 16%. You were in on him from Jump Street. You figured he was going to have another decent year. The problems in the beginning of the year were the fact that the offensive line couldn't protect the guy, so he wasn't be able to throw. Then he's missed a couple games with Jamar Chase being out. T. Higgins has been a solid play. Then you lose your running back situation. But overall, after 12 weeks of football, if you're an investor of Joe Burrow, you are up since week 1. Drew Sample is down 26%, but the biggest mover, this is the one that tripped you up yesterday when we were looking at this list. Joe Mixon is down since week 1. 17%. And that's after, didn't he have 5 touchdowns in one game?
Yeah. I mean, he had 4 in one game, but he's only got 6 in the season. So I guess there's the reason for that. But
yeah, maybe.
I know this doesn't really necessarily mean anything, but he's a top 10 fantasy back again, and he's down 17%. It's like, what did Joe Mixon have to do this year to succeed and do well? This is why I have a hard time with running backs, because I just can't gauge I can't gauge how it's going to move. I was thinking that Joe Mixon was having a solid year. When I saw that, I was like,
Yeah, that was a head scratcher. Doesn't make any sense
to me. I would say there's an anomaly there. I would say I like Mixon, but then I look at his market projections going forward, and I'm like, I don't know if he went down this year after having the season he's having, I can't be in on him going forward.
Right, because if he has anything better, it's not going to be much. All right, AFC South, starting with an interesting one again. The Titans, their biggest mover, but here's where I'm at. The Titans, right? Their biggest mover is up 8%, and that's Dontrell Hilliard. That's obviously the supplemental back to a Derrick Henry. So, yes, opportunities have seen themselves for him. Their biggest of note top mover on the other way, Robert Woods. They invested some money into this guy to get this guy, and, of course, he has not delivered at all. Are you kind of suspect on Robert Woods going forward? Traylon Burks, we almost wrote off Traylon Burks' career.
Is when you're a wide receiver in the league and you have double-digit years under your belt, that's the equivalent of a running back in his 4th year.
Yeah,
right.
I like that. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Yeah, Robert Woods, he's been a really good blocker, and I think that'll keep him in town. Because that's a run first team. But yeah, no. Traylon Burks is the only guy, if any, on the Titans that I would be investing in right now.
How the tides have changed. It's we're like, can you just show up to practice and actually put some effort in?
No, yeah. He embarrassed me on Thursday Night Football.
National TV. Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence up 15% since week 1. Again, not a surprise at all. He's starting to finally come to and show that he has that it factor that where he can lead a team down the field in a last-second situation and win a game. We just saw it. So Trevor Lawrence, again, the jury is still not out on him. I don't know how to. I mean, he's getting weapons surrounding him. Zay Jones and Christian Kirk, a bunch of Bs to me, a bunch of B receivers right now. But again, it's still early in his career. It's only his second year. He's got himself a quarterback-driven coach. I would get in on a Trevor Lawrence. Snoop Connor, can we talk about this? 94% down from draft day. It was a running back that they drafted while having James Robinson and Etienne on the team. So, like, what were we thinking, Jaguars? Because I'm pretty sure it was like a 3rd-round pick or 4th-round pick.
My imagination is that he's off the team now if he's down 94% because James Robinson was traded and he's not the next guy up. Correct? It's Hasty. So, yeah, he's probably not even in town. He might be on the practice squad.
But here's the head scratcher.
15%
and Travis Etienne down 15%.
Etienne is like one of my league winners. I feel like you got to be in on this guy right now. Again, what does a running back have to do?
What's a running back got to do around here? I don't know. No respect.
I think that Etienne you got to buy now because that's just disrespectfully low. Down 15%
since week 1.
Since week 1, what did we?
He's had weeks, obviously, but he got hurt. He's banged up. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I'm gonna buy the dip on Etienne, or I don't even know if it's a dip because it's been since week 1, and he's, if anything, I feel like once they traded James Robinson, that should have given him an uptick. He's had some really big games, big runs, and proven that he's a guy that's capable in this league to go forward.
It is okay. It's not against the law to be against what the market is saying, right? I mean, like we could disagree with what it is.
Of course,
Can we also agree?
I have to do my research on Travis Etienne and Joe Mixon a little bit.
Can we also agree that the Colts don't have any offense because their top mover is Nick Foles, hasn't seen the field, hasn't even seen backup status. He's up 3% since week 1. Everybody else is just staying kaput, if not dropping. Jonathan Taylor struggled this year. Matt Ryan has struggled this year, and he was one of the top of the hierarchy of the quarterbacks as far as his bank value and whatnot. But Michael Pittman, your boy Alec Pierce, these guys are down. The biggest faller for the Colts is Mo Alley Cox, down 35%. There's an emergence of a rookie tight end right now.
Jelani Woods.
Yeah, the Colts are the Colts right now. I mean, their record doesn't indicate what they are because I think they're very far off from being a competitive football team if their quarterback situation doesn't improve. I don't see
what? I do agree with all of what you just said, but I do think that by the end of the season, their top mover may end up being Jonathan Taylor. And if it's not, from this point on, he's going to go up another 10%. I don't know how much he's down for the year and if that will put him above the threshold for them to be the top mover. But there's some room here because they're going to keep feeding him the ball. And I think Jonathan Taylor's the only bright spot. Even though he hasn't been one, if you play the Colts right now, what are you expecting to deal with?
Right.
Jonathan Taylor.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I'm going to still keep my investment there on Jonathan Taylor. I did that a couple weeks back, and I'm going to hold it.
I am going to look up Jonathan Taylor just to be curious. Where is he? Jonathan Taylor here is down 13%. So almost 14%. But again, he's had some rough stuff.
I can see him getting back to where he belongs.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. So the Texans conversation was interesting. We'll fly through the West in a minute, but Kyle Allen up 19%. Davis Mills down 35% since week 1. It is very, very clear that the Texans will have the number 1 overall pick and will draft one of the stars coming out of college.
CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be one of these guys, right? I mean, if you take a look at the market right now, the top moving, or at least the top move, let's see, the NCAA football.
Bryce Young, CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I mean, Bryce Young is at $36, CJ Stroud $34, Caleb Williams $31, and then after that, a significant drop off to Drake May of North Carolina, Quinn Evers, guys like that. Hendon Hooker took a. That's unfortunate, but he took a dip.
You keep naming the quarterbacks, like the guy's escaping me, but there's another guy.
Quinn Evers, Will Levis.
He might jump.
He's the one from Kentucky. He's going to be good.
Yeah, but he also just had a really bad game.
Yeah, I mean, they can't all be winners, can they? J.J. McCarthy from Michigan having himself a year. But overall, you would assume that both of these guys' stocks are going to drop.
4 of those guys may be picked in the top 10.
I agree. So you're looking at the Texans having a quarterback situation. I mean, that's a
So I know that this is completely off the cuff. Who do the Texans take, CJ Stroud or Bryce Young?
Gun to my head, Bryce Young.
Me too.
Yeah, that's. He just seems to be coming from that winning culture. It's a little bit more of a winning culture, and I look at C.J. Stroud as an Ohio State quarterback. I'm looking
at the success of some of the Bama quarterbacks to come into the league of late, and I think Saban has. Yeah, I mean,
look at Jalen Hurts, bro. I mean, just by himself.
Jalen Hurts, Tua, Mac Jones.
Yeah, oh my God,
but
I mean, yeah, sure, he won games. Moving on to the West before we get out of here, the Chiefs. Man, if you were in on this guy early, you made some coin, and that's Isaiah Pacheco from Rutgers alum right here in New Jersey. He's up 126%. He's one of the biggest movers on the Mojo Market, not just the Chiefs, not just the AFC, the Mojo Market. He's one of the better bright spots. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is down 27%. I think we've seen the last of him in Kansas City, to be honest with you, because if they're going to just keep running the ball, they sign Melvin Gordon. We'll see what that looks like going forward, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire's down. Marquez, MVS. I'm just going to call him MVS. He's down 30%. He's a Aaron Rodgers product, but again, if you're on the Chiefs, you will get fed. It's just sparingly. Here, you'll have the MVS game, and you'll have the Juju game, and you'll have this game, and Tony will do something eventually. But like overall, you can't focus on one guy in the pass-catching department outside of Travis Kelce. The Chargers, Josh Palmer's emerged lately. Over the last 12 weeks of football, he's up 12%. Isaiah Spiller, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, all three of those guys down 16%. That's alarming if you're the Chargers, because on the market at least. But all these guys, both of those guys, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, both making $20 million a year. So somebody's going to go. There's no way they can afford all of this. So somebody's going to be out of the town.
I don't know. They just signed Mike Williams to a deal this past offseason.
Keenan Allen's going to be the odd man out. Him.
And I don't know that they're going to really.
He might be one of those hometown discount guys where he'll stick around. But you can't pay Keenan Allen $20 million.
I have to look at the contract and see if there's an out. If there's not, it doesn't matter. I don't know that they're going to really want to trade Keenan Allen. But you asked me yesterday, does this mean that they're going to be on the market for a receiver? Well, it's like, I don't know. Josh Palmer's up 12%. So they have one. So if they're looking to replace somebody, they have the guy on their roster right now.
He has guaranteed salary. 2023, next year, his guarantee is only $1.5 million. And then the 24, there's zero guaranteed money.
So they could cut him.
So they can cut him next year, and his dead cap would be only around $6 million because of all the cap numbers and the space and all that crap. But like overall, Keenan Allen might be an expendable piece if you're trying to put other things together. The Broncos. This is the interesting one, obviously.
Keenan Allen, come on down.
We'll see if OBJ.
Keep those hamstrings of yours in LA.
In LA, right. The Broncos, the biggest mover, again, and this has been talked about up to yesterday. They asked Nathaniel Hackett, the coach of the Broncos, could you make a move right now to switch your quarterback to Brett Rippon, who is up 48% since week one? Russ has not cooked. He has not ridden. He has not done anything. Russell Wilson, I listened to Dan Orlovsky yesterday, and it's hard for me to listen to Dan Orlovsky and be like, he knows what he's talking about. He's a really good quarterback. He wasn't. But like when he's breaking down Russell Wilson, he says he doesn't do the easy things good anymore. You know what I mean? Like that's how bad this guy has fallen off the face of the earth.
Pile on Russell Wilson.
I mean,
Orlovsky, does he run out of the back of the end zone?
He does not.
Look,
he does not.
I understand all Russ. We've talked about Russ till we're blue in the face. The guy is a nerd, and nobody likes him. So for that reason, he is down. No,
and Brett
that's
Rippon
not why he's got 6 touchdowns and like 16 picks or something absurd.
It's bad.
But really, I understand we're supposed to be talking about the Broncos right now, but I'm taking this opportunity to say, what the heck, dude? Again, running backs are making me not know what I'm doing.
You talking about Javonte?
Because I'm talking about Javonte down 25%.
He got hurt.
Makes sense.
Out for the year.
Makes sense. Got hurt, out for the year. Do you know who's
early too?
Do you know who's not hurt and out for the year? Well, maybe they're a little nicked up, but they're not hurt. It's like Travis Etienne and Joe Mixon. I don't understand how Etienne is down 15%, Mixon's down 17%, and neither guy is injured.
We'll see. Anyway, wrapping up with the Raiders, Mac Hollins is their biggest mover, 36% since week one. He's emerged as one of the good receivers over there in Las Vegas.
Still love Javonte, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I'm in on Javonte no matter what. And, of course, Darren Waller is down 38%. I mean, he's been banged up very bad. We've seen the emergence of Foster Moreau. Yeah, Moreau, him too. But, again, tight ends aplenty over there. So Darren Waller has felt the effects.
I know we just breezed over the Broncos. I will say, if there is anything that I'll say is that maybe 25% is a little low for a guy that's out for the year. And that just shows you what the market thinks of Javonte Williams. This guy is a stud.
We shall see. But you can definitely finish up by following us. And all this stuff that we're talking about, you can find it on the Discord. You can find it on all the social medias. You can find it on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Mojo. And, of course, like I said, join the Discord. There's conversations to be had each and every day. And, of course, mojo.com is where I got a lot of this information. And, of course, the writers and the bloggers and everybody, the powers that be back there have provided us with all this information to provide to you to kind of give you the idea of who to invest in going forward. So, again, Week 13 is here. Bet smart. Have fun with Thursday Night Football because, again, we're in on Rhamondre. Josh Allen has a chance to have a big night. It'll be an interesting game. It's definitely one that we've been circling and looking forward to for a while. So enjoy it. Right? Right. So for Dave Sturchio, Chris Gueci, this has been another episode of the Mojo Market Report. We'll be back here tomorrow to put a bow on Thursday Night Football and give you the entire week number 13 slate. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Enjoy the game later, guys.
Yeah.